Wear a mask if you want to, or you could leave the mask behind. You really don't need to cover your face with a diaper all the freaking time. Say, wear a mask if you want to.
Warning. I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised.
Vaccine, not for me. You can go where you want to because masks are normalized. They react and attack when they don't see a mask and their tempers start to rise. You can mask if you want to, though you're healthy and so am I. You can wear PPE from your head to your feet, but the virus will survive. You say, wear a mask, Rona is out of control.
C60 in oil is a powerful antioxidant that moves through the body like a magnet to attract and neutralize free radicals. Gotta get rid of those radicals. C60 can slow down aging and reduce cell damage. It can also improve the immune system and reduce inflammation naturally. Not bad. If you're interested, check out my link in the description. Nutty. If I've learned one thing this year, it's don't masturbate, especially on social media. It pisses people off.
It's called mask mouth. Symptoms include bad breath, tooth decay, and gum inflammation.
And it's just something we weren't kind of expecting to see with a lot of mask wear. So
Dr. Dahlia Wax discussing the latest issue in the oral hygiene world that appears to be caused by constant mask wear.
as we're wearing the mask, rather than breathing through our nose like you would think, we're breathing more through our mouth.
And that leads to a loss of humidity, which causes dry mouth and less saliva.
We need saliva to help rinse off your teeth, kind of keep everything copacetic.
The term is a play off of meth mouth, which is a common term referred to patients who have tooth decay from methamphetamine use. Now, mask mouth isn't as glaring. Doctors encourage continued mask use, but say the key to avoid that bacteria buildup is to constantly hydrate.
It's not working.
Are you okay, Ted? Ted! You are masturbating!
I am in no way trying to prove anything at all. I just don't like that Dr. YouTube, Dr. Facebook, Dr. Twitter, and so on have become the mass medical dictators. Medicine is usually practiced on an individual, not a whole group, because everybody's different. Everybody needs different things. I just don't like the mass medical dictates, and I want a second opinion. The problem is, it's not open to debate. If it's against the agenda, it gets deleted and censored, and the one with the opposing opinion gets smeared. In the sources I use for this video, I'm not interested in the individuals presenting the information, nor am I interested in the news organizations presenting information. I realize everybody could and probably does have some sort of bias, and some could have an agenda. That's not the important part. That goes all around. The important part is the information. And is it legit?
All these masks are floating around out there. Which ones do health officials say you should use? None of them.
As coronavirus fears sweep the country, many are turning to protective face masks, hoping to keep the germs away. Gwyneth Paltrow, Selena Gomez, and Kate Hudson among those posting pictures of their face coverings while traveling. But not all masks are created equal, and the surgical face masks that many people are turning to for protection from coronavirus likely won't protect you, according to health officials. These types of masks instead are recommended for people who are already sick because they're designed to prevent a person from spreading germs from sneezing and coughing. But there's another type of mask called an N95 or respirator mask, which the FDA says has a very efficient filtration, keeping out 95% of airborne particles. But health officials only recommend these for healthcare professionals who are in constant contact with sick patients.
I think people see a mask and they see an illusion of protection, that if they put the mask on, it'll somehow block viruses from getting into their mouth or nose when they breathe. That's just not the case. Anyone who does not have a respiratory illness, meaning a cough or sneezing, should not be wearing any type of mask, whether it's a surgical mask or a respirator.
Masks are intended for the ill, when they will be potentially in contact with others, and for those who are caring for them. Multiple medical authorities, including the World Health Organization, the CDC, the New England Journal of Medicine, have now all acknowledged that there is no scientific justification for normal, healthy people to be wearing masks.
And believe it or not, by wearing a mask, you could be putting yourself at even more risk.
People do not use their masks correctly. They play with it. They wear it too long. They rub their nose underneath it.
You hear that, folks? You could be making it worse by wearing a mask, putting yourself at greater risk, because what do you do all day? You're doing exactly what they tell you not to do. You're touching your face all day and getting sick.
There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course.
I know, it's old, it's outdated, it's from March 2020, 6 months ago. I think this comment answers it for me. From Old N Guy. This interview was on March 8, and lots of people have concerns about it being so long ago, and note that his advice has changed, and therefore dismiss it as out-of-date news. It seems a fair question, though, why someone who has been an expert in infectious disease for decades would not have a firmly established yes, wear masks, or don't wear masks position that can't just flip 180 degrees in a couple months. Or, if it's because they were worried about running out of PPE, he could have just said that. But if that is the case, then one thing that seems to be ignored is no matter which way you look at it, he lied. He either lied then and put the public at risk, or he's lying now. He broke his Hippocratic oath, but not his hypocrite oath.
What I want to show you guys is these N95 respirators. There are a bunch of different styles. These are what we use in hospital settings for healthcare providers. They have to be measured for your face. I went through this process. It took several attempts, different sizes, different models, to actually find the one that works for me. They have to be put on properly. You see the two elastic bands there. One has to be high on the head, one has to be around the neck.
Prolonged mask wearing actually increases the risk of disease to the wearer. People tend to touch their faces much more often when they're wearing a mask. In addition, we end up rebreathing particles that our lungs have exhaled, whether it's pollen, dust, virus, or bacteria particles. They are trapped in the mask, and on the very next inhale, we breathe them back in. Lastly, many people are wearing masks other than surgical or medical masks, and many of them are not porous enough to allow carbon dioxide that we exhale to fully dissipate. So on every inhalation, we breathe back in more carbon dioxide.
From Everyday Health, August 4, 2020. Your mask may be causing candida growth in your mouth. Red bumps around your mouth and cracks at the corners of your lips may mean you have a fungal infection, but that doesn't mean you should stop wearing a mask. Humidity and heat mixed with a tight mask may contribute to mouth infections in some people. As if maskne weren't bad enough, there's another skin problem to worry about during the COVID-19 pandemic. Candida overgrowth is basically a yeast infection around your mouth. There are things you can do if you suspect this is going on with your skin, but not wearing a mask isn't the solution, says the CDC. CDC recommends that the general public wear a cloth face covering when social distancing is impossible to help stop the spread of the novel coronavirus. Mask conditions allow yeast to thrive. There's a lot going on in your mouth. In fact, there are about 700 species of microbes living in there, according to the NIH. Like other areas of your body, there are both good bacteria and bad, the kind that make your breath stink or lead to cavities. And there's also fungus, which is normal, but can cause a whole host of problems.
There's normal bacteria and normal flora that we have to be exposed to. Bacteria and viruses that are not virulent are our friends. They protect us against bad bacteria and bad viruses.
Now that mask wearing is becoming the norm, wait a minute. Becoming the norm? I thought it was supposed to be temporary. You're more susceptible to mask-induced skin problems. Maskne is more common, but candida infection is also possible. Both the skin and saliva can contain parasitic fungi of the genus Candida, a type of yeast that is normally present in the body. While Candida typically exists without causing a problem, a specific species can cause an infection if it grows out of control, notes the CDC. If this type of Candida overgrows in the vagina, it's called a yeast infection. If it overgrows inside the mouth, it's called thrush. It's also possible to have these yeast growth in the folds of your skin, such as under your breast. Anyone who's worn a mask in the summertime knows that it can get hot under there, and masks offer the perfect conditions for overgrowth. Quote, Candida thrives in humid environments, much like the one created under your mask.
When you take human beings and you say, go into your house, clean all your counters, Lysol them down, you're going to kill 99% of viruses and bacteria, wear a mask, don't go outside. What does that do to our immune system? Our immune system is used to touching. We share bacteria, staphylococcal, streptococcal bacteria, viruses. We develop an immune response daily to this stuff. When you take that away from me, my immune system drops. As I shelter in place, my immune system drops. You keep me there for months, it drops more. And now I'm at home, hand washing vigorously, washing the counters, worried about things that are indeed what I need to survive. Let's follow the science.
Habitual wearing of masks decreases the body's natural immune response. We're supposed to come into contact regularly with foreign things, bacteria, viruses, all kinds of things. And that's what helps to keep our immune systems on alert.
As your mask that you're wearing for days, you touch the outside of it, COVID, and then touch your mouth. This doesn't make any sense. We wear masks in an acute setting to protect us. We're not wearing masks. Why is that? Because we understand microbiology, we understand immunology, and we want strong immune systems.
If you limit your exposure to everything by constantly wearing masks or the overuse of hand sanitizers and disinfectants, your immune system in effect says, apparently I'm not needed. I'll go on vacation.
I'm outside with no mask.
Are the gloves and masks maybe a little bit too much right now? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well,
sense?
Again, do you want your immune system built or do you want it not built? The building blocks of your immune system is virus and bacteria, end of story.
I don't think everybody needs to wear a mask and gloves because it reduces your bacterial flora. It doesn't allow you to interact with society, and your bacteria flora and your viruses, your friends that protect you from other diseases, end up going away, and now you're more likely to get opportunistic infections that are hoping you don't have your good bugs fighting for you, if that makes sense.
Another thing is some of the people that are pushing the masks and pushing hard are some of these governors like Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo. And that alone is something that causes me alarm about it. Because Governor Newsom and Governor Cuomo are two out of a handful of governors at least that backed state regulations that turned nursing homes into pandemic hotspots. Besides, Cuomo's been caught without a mask quite a few times. He's been caught walking his dog. He's also been caught in Savannah with the mayor, hugging up on him, no mask on. So that alone causes me pause. Not because of what they say, but because of their actions. It really seems like they want the numbers up. And they're also some of the biggest pushers of the masks.
So what's the real risk of contracting COVID-19? Despite what you were led to believe, COVID-19 has not proven to be as contagious.
In July, the WHO admitted that asymptomatic transmission is very, very rare.
What proportion of asymptomatic individuals actually transmit? So the way that we look at that is we look at these individuals need to be followed carefully over the course of when they're detected and looking at secondary transmission. We have a number of reports from countries who are doing very detailed contact tracing. They're following asymptomatic cases, they're following contacts, and they're not finding secondary transmission onward. It's very rare. And much of that is not published in the literature. From the data we have, it still seems to be rare that an asymptomatic person actually transmits onward to a secondary individual.
A new study from medical scientists at UCLA and Stanford University finds the likelihood of contracting the coronavirus is much, much lower than previously thought. The study, published in late June, says the current probability of becoming infected, going to the hospital, or even death from COVID-19 is, quote, an extremely rare event. The study goes on to say that people are vastly overestimating their chances of getting sick and going to the hospital, especially here in the U.S. As part of the study, doctors reviewed public cases of infection in 100 of the largest counties across the nation. They found that an average person in an average county has a 1 in 3,836 chance of getting infected with the coronavirus, and that's without wearing a mask or doing any social distancing. Even the odds of being hospitalized are vanishingly small, even for someone who's in the at-risk category. For an average person between 50 and 64 years old, the chances of getting the virus and needing hospitalization are 1 in 852,000. And for that same person who's at risk, the chances of dying from coronavirus are 1 in 19.1 million. And those figures were for the last week of May, when deaths from coronavirus were 16 times higher than they were last week. Doctors say they were shocked to find out how low the risk of coronavirus really was. It's worth mentioning that compared to the risk of dying from coronavirus, which again is 1 in 19 million, the risk from dying in a car crash is 1 in 114.
Fucking stoned.
I got